Welcome to another episode of Budget Conscious Construction. Your host Vic here, helping you get things done in 2025. And every year I'm blessed to be here, helping my fellow man or woman. All right, I told you I was going to pop a video up about those little accent pieces that are just made out of trash. Basically stuff I would normally toss because it's plywood with a white oak veneer. Basically, the same thing you see back there on the wall. Now, once you cut the edges and you see the exposed plywood, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like that. You can do a solid body stain on those, and I'll say that in the video probably again, and make that disappear, or you can black them out and it won't look as bad. With my particular area, it was going to work, so I said I'm going to do it, and most people are not going to be looking at that edge for where they're sitting. Now, if you really care about the clean edge and you want to see a clean edge, go buy you some 4/4 white oak. Yes, is it going to cost a lot of money? Well, it's going to cost more money. But everything is costing more money. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Culver's, whatever. So if you want a better look, use some nice 4/4. This is a nice piece of 4/4 white oak. And once you cut it out, your edges be sanded and they'll look much cleaner than what I actually done. But remember, I done it because I didn't want to spend money. I just, instead of tossing it in trash, I said, we're going to make some accent pieces. All right, stick around and let me show you what I done. So first you want to determine how high you want it. I wanted it 8 inches high. So I grabbed a scrap piece of wood, cut it where it's 8 inches high. And I think this is maybe 7 inches wide or something like that. But the wider, the better, because it's safer to cut it. But anyways, I pull my tape from the right side and I mark 4 inches because I want them 4 inches wide because they're 8 inches tall. And you see me kind of scribe right there. Okay, that's what we're going to do with the saw. Remember, when your saw comes down, once you put it in I'm not 100% sure, it seemed like it was maybe, I don't know, 15 or something degree angle on this actual cut. But you can put it whichever angle you want to put it at for which look you want to look. But on this particular board, all I did was cut from my center line that you see that was center vertical point as far as 4 inches of the 8 inches. And then I go over to the 4-inch side of it did you see me mark on the table? And where they intersect, that's where I want my saw blade to run by. And once again, I'll say this is kind of dangerous, so be sure you use a longer piece so that you can cut multiple pieces out of it and your fingers are not next to the blade. I did have another video of me doing that with a longer piece, but it took me too long and I was screwing up. So I was like, I'll just do this one. But anyways, you'll turn your blade the other direction and then come back and try it on the outside or inside. It don't really matter. I prefer to go the outside because if you go the inside first on something like this, it'll drop off and now you have to cut it a very small piece off of it. So go to the outside first and work your way in for safety reasons. As I'm talking about safety reasons with no guard on the saw. And then I cross the other intersection point and just do it again. Remember the angle that I put on this saw, and I should have just looked at it what it was. I just cut it multiple different angles. As you can see pieces looking on the left side of my arm right there. I tried different angles and then I just said, hey, I like this angle, and I can't remember what I went with. But that's kind of how you get it. Figure out what's safe for you to do at your own risk. But this is scrap ply. And remember, it is a veneer on top of this. So you'll see me test this edge because I'm just trying to give it a little bit of a round over so it has a nice contour to the edges. But I don't want to go crazy because if I rip too much of that veneer off, if you're looking at this accent piece dead on from the face, it's kind of ugly. It's like, oh, that's plywood. That's not a real piece of white oak. Yes, I'm aware of that. But I'm daggone being cheap, and I don't want to use my solid oak up. White oak is getting quite expensive. So I'm just using the ply. Now, with the edges on this, afterwards, I've seen a lot of ply done with a solid body and then a regular stain on the face. So it kind of hides the grain of the plywood on the side. So I would definitely try that. I didn't do that. I just put a couple of coats of regular stain on the sides to darken it up so you couldn't really see that it was a plywood corner. But it's up to you and how you want to do it. Hopefully this helps and maybe makes you create your own. But that's the finished product before stain. So hopefully you've learned how to not throw everything in the trash and make something out of it. So what I would say is, once again, I can't say it enough. If you want a cleaner look, use some 4/4 or 5/4 board if you have some laying around, so you don't have to see the edges of the ply with the veneer. If not, solid body stain this edges of it, and then just do a regular stain on the front so that you still have that nice grain look of the veneer, but the edges are covered up with a darker color. Hopefully this helps. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one. This budget's so tight, the goats are saving cheese, mama.